Okay, let's unpack this. Our lives are, well, they're undeniably shaped by our habits. Those daily routines, big or small, conscious or not, they're not just random actions. They're actually uh, steering us somewhere.
That's right. And the sources you've brought for this deep dive frame this really clearly. One, from Loving Life, presents habits almost like a personalized roadmap, suggesting they are like a way to navigate towards a better future, one filled with success, fulfillment, happiness.
And the other source, contrarian thinking, takes an even bolder stance. It argues that habits are the single most important marker for real success, particularly financial success, claiming that focusing on your habits is one of the only things that can actually make that outcome more predictable.
That's a powerful idea. It absolutely is. So our mission in this deep dive is really to pull out the most impactful nuggets from these two distinct perspectives. Redefine yourself. 20 habits that can change your life from Loving Life, and the 5 habits that changed my life from contrarian thinking. We're going to explore how these sources suggest habits can genuinely redefine your life, whether your focus is, broad well-being or maybe more target achievement.
Think of this as your shortcut, right, to getting a really informed view on the power of habits, seeing the core ideas from these two different angles. What do they tell you, our listener, about building a better self, literally habit by habit? Let's jump right into what they shared.
Okay, let's start with what you could call the absolute foundation, habits related to our physical and mental basics. Both sources, in their own way, they really emphasize the importance of exercise and sleep.
Yeah. Loving Life includes regular exercise as one of its 20 habits, focusing on the wide-ranging benefits the source lists, like drastically improving physical health, boosting energy levels, enhancing mood, and potentially adding years to your life. Their actionable advice is pretty straightforward. Start small, simple 15-minute walks or maybe some at-home exercises, and crucially, find activities you actually enjoy doing so you'll, stick with it.
Right. Now, contrarian thinking doesn't put exercise like explicitly in its top 5 list, but it highlights the daily walk with some pretty vivid language. The source calls it a cheap and effective way to unfrick your brain.
Whoa, okay. That's blunt.
Yeah, exactly. They frame it as free therapy, a productivity hack, and a creativity boost all in one. The core instruction is simple. Just get out the door and walk daily. They even suggest, like, making meetings, walking calls. The language is certainly designed to grab your attention and emphasize the potent practical impact.
Unfit your brain. You definitely remember that one. And sleep is another area where both sources seem to see eye to eye on importance, though their focus differs a bit. Loving Life states that adequate and regular sleep isn't just, nice to have, it's crucial. They link sleep deprivation to impaired thinking, mood swings, weakened immunity, and long-term health problems.
Right. And getting good sleep, according to this source, actively enhances memory, improves alertness, and reduces stress. Their practical tips are really about consistency. A regular sleep schedule, a relaxing pre-bed routine, maybe reading, or a bath limiting screen time before bed, and making your bedroom a sleep sanctuary. Dark, quiet, cool. The emphasis is firmly on routine and environment.
Okay.
Contrarian thinking, though, zeroes in on waking up early, specifically mentioning 5:45 a.m., not just for the rest it provides, but for the, strategic advantage. The source suggests this quiet time is prime for solving problems, getting essential tasks done before the world interrupts, and that by going to sleep earlier to achieve this, you also make better decisions.
Hmm.
Yeah, the key takeaway here is about creating and fiercely guarding a period of quiet focus, like Fort Knox. They even humorously suggest an accountability partner for what they call synchronized suffering to make those early wake-ups happen.
Synchronized suffering. I like that. Okay, so one frames sleep as this fundamental pillar for overall health and function, while the other sees it more as a strategic tool, right, for productivity
Yeah.
and decision-making by getting a head start.
Exactly. And Loving Life also adds healthy eating to this foundational group, pointing out that diet profoundly impacts both physical and mental health. The source links good nutrition. Fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, whole grains directly to increased energy, a better mood, and improved overall health.
And their advice isn't about drastic diets, is it?
No, not at all. It's about gradual, sustainable changes. Adding a fruit or vegetable to every meal, experimenting with recipes, and just slowly shifting choices makes it much more achievable.
Right.
And then there's a habit unique to the Living Life list, taking cold showers.
Cold showers, really.
Yeah. This source connects cold exposure to increased alertness, enhanced mood, improved skin and hair, and even a boosted immune system. They quote Wim Hof, the Iceman.
Oh, yeah.
He says, "A cold shower a day keeps the doctor away." The starting point they recommend is super simple. Just end your warm shower with like 15 seconds of cold water and build up from there.
Okay, maybe I could try 15 seconds. So that foundational block from Loving Life is really about getting the physical machine running optimally, exercise, sleep, diet, even that jolt of cold. But what about the inner world? Loving Life dedicates several habits to mindset and reflection.
Yes, they do. They discuss practicing mindfulness, defining it as deliberately focusing on the present moment without judgment. The source says this simple act fosters peace of mind, significantly reduces stress, and enhances emotional resilience.
How do they suggest starting that? Seems kind of daunting sometimes.
It's actually incredibly accessible. Just 5 minutes a day in a quiet spot, sit comfortably, close your eyes, focus on your breath, and simply observe your thoughts and emotions as they pass without getting, caught up in them. It's framed as just training your attention.
5 minutes.
Okay.
And daily journaling, that's another one from Loving Life, right?
Yep. Presented as a powerful gateway to self-exploration. The source claims it helps you track personal growth, improve your understanding of your own emotions, boosts memory, and even enhances self-discipline and communication skills.
Wow, that's a lot for just writing stuff down.
Well, the beauty, they say, is the simplicity. All you need is a pen and notebook to jot down anything that comes to mind for a few minutes, daily thoughts about the day, a memory, future plans. Crucially, they emphasize there are no rules. Just get it out.
No rules, I like that. Then there's gratitude.
Cultivating gratitude, yeah. Another key one from Loving Life. The source describes it as more than just, like, saying thank you. It's actively developing a mindset of appreciating the good things in your life. This practice, they argue, fundamentally shifts your focus away from negatives and has a significant impact on overall well-being.
How so?
Well, they say it improves mental health, enhances empathy, reduces aggression, and even improves sleep. It's presented as a way to build resilience and find inner peace by focusing on the abundance you already have instead of what you lack.
Hmm. And that ties into the positive mindset one too, I guess.
Exactly. Cultivating a positive mindset, also from Loving Life. This isn't about, ignoring problems or pretending everything's perfect. It's more about approaching challenges with a more positive and productive attitude. The source says this habit boosts resilience, improves overall health, and enhances life satisfaction.
So how do you do that? Just decide to be positive.
Not quite. It's built with consistent practice. Things like actively identifying the good in your day, practicing positive self-talk, consciously challenging those negative thought patterns that pop up. And they also recommend surrounding yourself with positive influences, people, books, music, whatever works for you.
Okay, so these Loving Life habits really seem focused on building a strong internal state, managing emotions, consciously shaping your perspective. Makes sense.
Right. Now, should we shift gears slightly and look at habits focused on learning and growth,
Yeah.
fueling the mind?
Yeah, let's do that. Reading is one that shows up in both sources, and the contrast in framing. Reading is a habit that improves knowledge, concentration, creativity, and also reduces stress. Pretty standard stuff. Their advice is just pick an interesting book and dedicate a few minutes, maybe even just a page daily.
Okay, very gentle approach. Contrarian thinking, on the other hand, calls reading the one thing that every truly rich person does, describing it provocatively as legal insider trading.
Legal insider trading. What do they
Yeah.
mean by that?
Well, the metaphor is that reading gives you a significant informational edge, essentially providing you with playbooks and insights from smarter people without any of the actual risk of, insider trading. They point out that something like 25% of the population won't read a single book this year.
Wow.
And they position reading as this incredibly affordable hack to level the playing field if you didn't have access to, say, elite education or wealthy family connections. Their call to action is super direct. Read a lot, like your future depends on it. And specifically, put down the screens and pick up something with literal weight, meaning like a physical book.
That's a fantastic contrast. One sees reading as general self-improvement. The other frames it as a direct competitive advantage for like financial and intellectual gain.
Exactly. And Loving Life expands on this learning theme with learn something new, seeing it as this lifelong journey, essential for personal growth, and keeping the mind sharp.
So not just reading, but active learning.
Right. This habit opens perspectives, boosts creativity, increases adaptability, and contributes to a sense of accomplishment. The source suggests identifying a topic or skill you're curious about. Could be anything, a language, an instrument, marketing, painting, whatever, and dedicating weekly time to it. Through online courses, reading podcasts, joining classes. The key is active learning that genuinely challenges you.
Okay. And they also had one about prioritizing personal growth overall.
Yes, Loving Life highlights prioritize personal growth as arguably the best habit to implement. They describe it as this ongoing journey of self-discovery and improvement that leads to a more fulfilling life lived consciously, purposefully, and authentically.
So it's broader than just learning a skill.
Yeah, it involves setting clear personal growth goals, intentionally engaging in activities outside your comfort zone, seeking feedback, being open to new ideas. It's framed not as a destination, but a continuous process to be enjoyed.
Got it. So these learning habits range from the specific action of reading for different reasons, depending on the source, to this broader commitment to continuous self-improvement and, challenging yourself.
Okay, let's move into habits related to action and connection, how we engage with the external world and move forward. Loving Life includes socialize, reminding us that humans are fundamentally social creatures.
Yeah, that feels important, especially now, maybe.
Definitely. The source states that good relationships are crucial for both mental and physical health, increasing happiness and even longevity. Quality interactions provide essential emotional support, a sense of belonging, reduce stress. They point out that isolation has the opposite negative health impact.
So what's the advice? Just go out more.
It's simpler than that to start. Connect with someone daily, even just a quick call or conversation. Joining groups with shared interests or volunteering are also suggested. And they emphasize that the quality of connection is really more important than the quantity.
Okay, quality over quantity. Makes
Yeah.
sense. What else?
Deep breathing is another habit from Loving Life, presented as an immediate route to calmness, like an instant stress buster.
Just breathing. Seems too simple.
Well, the source calls it a natural tranquilizer for the nervous system. It signals the brain to slow down, improves focus, induces a state of peace. It's often overlooked, they say, but really powerful.
How do you practice it?
Just pause when you feel stressed or overwhelmed. Focus on your breath. Take a slow,